two major points of team government. Firstly, about the obligation for government to ensure political candidates have the right background for competency and quality assurance, and secondly, about fixing the broken political culture of today, or of the status quo. Now, my goal for rebutting the first point is that a countries, I'm going to prove that countries or government of countries don't want to make self-destructing policies. B, team government slash team proposition is cherry picking examples and not seeing the bigger picture. And C, the government's proposal. And C, decision making skills will be sidelined with government's proposal, or with the addition or implementation of the test. And my goal for rebutting the second point is that government's proposal does not solve the current problem of the broken political culture. Anyways, firstly, I would like to clarify that team government did not explain the correlation of good test results equals good decisions or otherwise, right? They did not explain how the test can ensure slash guarantee the decision-making skills of one's candidate. That's where they have failed uh, on their speech. Moving on to my first rebuttal here. About the obligation for government to ensure political candidates have the right background. Um, I would like to explain, or I would like to tell you what do we mean by sidelining decision making skills. So with the test, they said that they would put grades on, they would test candidates on subjects like sociology, law, economy, etc. Well, we do agree that it is important that these about these subjects, but it's not about that, and it could be harmful because because with the test it sidelines the decision making skills, because as government said, only the ones with competent grades get to be candidates, while what's important for politicians is decision making skills, right? And the test doesn't see that, or they didn't explain how the test guarantee good decision making skills, right? So it only based on the objectively on sociology, law, economy. Based on that, it doesn't see the decision making skills of those politicians that we actually need from politicians, right? And this manifests into that only candidates with good grades are considered, and not the ones with actual good decision making skills, which are again the one and the thing that we need most from politicians, right? Not good grades, right? So B, expert knowledge background for politicians. We think that this is unimportant because of 2 points. One, there are already experts in many fields that already exist on economy and etc. We can ask them, or experts can advise them about policies, and this could be harmful because it fosters bias. For example, a politician with an economic background, he would only concentrate or prioritize economic policies while sidelining others like environment, rights, and etc. Right? So it's not about expert knowledge, background, and more. It's more about political will and decision making skills. And regarding their example on tariffs, like because as they said, they cause suffering and etc. We believe that this is just a case of Trump's decision making, because tariffs policy is to proliferate domestic American businesses to reach economic independency in the first place, right? And I'm sure Trump knows about the cons, but he still implements it anyways because of his political will, right? So either way, and either way, no government or country wants to make self-destructing policies, right? They always self-regenerate or self-recovering, right? So you can't and you can't make policies that makes everyone happy, right? So there will always be a disagree and agree two sides to that policy. So by government saying that tariffs cause suffering and etc., it's not enough for them to say it's a bad policy, because government is cherry picking examples without seeing the bigger picture. And my second rebuttal of how it doesn't solve the broken policy or politics, because it doesn't happen on their side, because as they said that the ones with high grades are the ones to get to candidate. That means there's still an election process, right? So in that election process, wouldn't people still choose based on their charisma, right? It's symmetrical. It's symmetrical. Elections is symmetrical, right? So the ones, so even if they have grades, people would still choose based on their charisma in the election, right? So the test doesn't solve the charisma problem that they are trying to solve. Anyways, moving on to my main argument about how we don't need to the test, or there's no urgency in that test to be implemented in the first place. We believe that education and transparency of the politicians is already enough to be a candidate, right? Why is education and transparency enough, right? So what does undergoing education imply? 2 points. Firstly, about the with education, they already have passed the baseline of knowledge, means they are educated, and B, they know the societal and national norms. So they know what nationalism is, and etc. So they already passed the baseline of education, means that they already live in the grassroots. Like, you don't need to be a doctor to know health and hospital, etc. Right? So they basically know the basics. Secondly, they are part of a political party, right? So what happens when you are a member of political party, right? So 2 points. A, you get internal training and etc., right? And B, you have prior political experience due to you being in that political party, right? And being in the political party is even better, because political parties, they will choose the ones who to be candidates who shows the most competency or quality in that party, the ones who, for example, most representative of that party's vision, or that party's what's it called, ideology, etc., right? That knows about the situation that the society is in, or the aspiration, like Prabowo, for example, right? He has been in the party for decades, right? So he knows the values of the party, and he knows the aspirations of the people, etc. So it's better knowing these values than actually just knowing about society, sociology, and etc., as they said, right? So, and transparency is already enough, because anything about the government's information, such as funds, programs, etc., is already accessible online or offline, right? So it is already fully transparent, and we think that is enough. And lastly, on my point on obligation, they say that they're trying to fix the principle of obligation and etc. They make tests to create accessibility. No, they are trying to limit the fundamental right of being a citizen, the rights of candidacy. It's a political right for every citizen, and with tests, it limits that right by only allowing those who have passed the test to be a candidate, right? So it's limiting a fundamental right that should not be limited. And it doesn't fulfill it doesn't fulfill the democracy's purpose of participation. And for all those reasons, we are so proud to propose. Thank you.